Good evening, crafting friends. I'm Dorene Decibus from It Begins with Ink and Paper, and welcome to Funfold Friday. Thank you for joining me. I'm sorry about all the delays. I started a few minutes ago, and boy, it just didn't want to cooperate at all. I kept losing the signal, so hopefully we're in a good place right now. So let's just get everything set up and maybe move those dies out of the way so you don't have to look at all that stuff there. My craft desk is, boy, I'm ready for World Card Making Day tomorrow, and I have stuff everywhere. But tonight we're going to focus on a new fun fold, and this is a really fun fold. I'm pretty excited about it. It is called a sliding gatefold fun fold. That's a big mouthful. But anyway, I'm going to be using the Greetings of the Season, and I wanted to use a really bold Season's Greeting, so I'm taking the one from the Snowy Wonder set. So those are the two stamp sets I'm using. And of course, if I'm using Greetings of the Season, I am using that beautiful Season of Gold, Green and Gold Designer Series paper. And let me just turn this over, and this is our fun fold for tonight. It is just beautiful. I love it. I love everything I make with this paper. So I will show you all the aspects of it just a minute. I used red ink on here because I wanted the greeting to pop, and I wanted to use some of those cherry cobbler berries on the front of the card as well. So I just wanted some red to pop. So it does have a belly band. You all know how I feel about belly bands. I just love them. It's like opening a present. So this is our standard gatefold, and now watch what happens when I open it up. We have some panels that slide. Isn't that cool? I just love this. It's just such a cool card. So it closes, and then when you open it up again, those panels slide. So I'm going to show you how to put that together. And then on the back, I put a piece of very vanilla cardstock so that you have a place to write your message or your greeting, or just to write something to your loved ones. So this is the card we're making tonight, and I just adore it. Okay, so let me just move some of this out of the way so I don't ruin it. But I'll leave this up. Oh, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's standing open, so you can see that as well. So you can see where the fold is, and there's one on the top and one on the bottom with that part of the card. And it's not all that hard to put together. You just need a lot of supplies. So let's start with, for very vanilla, I'm going to need some scraps to cut these 3 tags. So I'm using very vanilla for that. It matches the Designer Series paper really nicely. You're going to need for your card base a 5 by 10 inch piece of old Olive Cardstock. You could also use Garden Green or Mossy Meadow. Those greens go with this Designer Series paper as well, or whatever your Designer Series paper you are using. Just match the colors in that Designer Series paper. For the belly band, I'm going to need one piece that's 1 1/4 inch by 11 inches. For the mechanisms that are going to make the fold, they are 1 1/4 inch by 5 5/8 inches. We're going to be scoring those. I'll put that aside. And then for the panels that move on the inside, these are 4 1/8 by 2 1/4 inches. So that's what we need for the for the old Olive Cardstock. And then for the inside of our card and all of our layers. So I'm using today the Distressed Gold, because I just love how the Distressed really makes the gold just so beautiful. And again, what I would recommend is that I would probably cut the center out of this just to save on the gold paper, but I didn't for this card. So here is what I'm going to need. So for the very back, I am going to need a piece 4 3/4 by 4 3/4, and this piece is 4 7/8 by 4 7/8. So what I'm going to do, and I took a 1/2 inch scrap, I'm going to add some adhesive to this 1/2 inch scrap, and I'm just going to put that onto the back, to the front of this. Let's see. I'm going to have it go this way. And it's larger. It's just a scrap I cut. So I'm just going to put that on, and then I'm going to use my paper snips to trim off the edge. So we're going to just put all of our layers on right now, and then we'll do our scoring and assembling of the card. For this particular one, I might stamp another sentiment on it, but I want to just leave this blank for right now. So I'm just going to layer this on the gold. There we go. So pretty. So I'm going to set this one aside. Then for the inside, I have 4 3/4 by 4 3/4, and then this is 4 5/8 by 4 5/8. So I'm just going to add some Stampin' Seal on the back of the Designer Series paper, and then just put it right on top of the piece of distressed gold foil. I just love the sparkle and how it just brings the gold out in the Designer Series paper. I'm going to set that aside. These are the pieces that are going to go onto my panels. So I'm going to grab those 2 pieces, and we're going to layer these 2 pieces on the gold. I am using 3 different patterns of the Designer Series paper. They all just go so well together that they don't look too busy with each other. There are lots of patterns in this Designer Series paper that you could use on a card like this, or as I said, whatever Designer Series paper you decide to use. I am a layer girl, so I love to put lots of layers on in my cards. So that's just who I am. Some people like that. Some people might put less layers. And I could have just put these layers of the Designer Series paper right onto the old Olive Cardstock and not had any layer of gold in between it. But my goal for this is to make a really elegant Christmas card. So I have, using 2 different patterns, this is going to go on the front, this is going to go on the inside of the card. So I'm going to layer these onto the gold as well. But with the distressing on the gold, you just pick up some just beautiful light and splattering of light from those pieces. So I just think it's beautiful. Though, as I said, I probably covered up just a bit too much of it. Oh, I don't think I said. So these 4 pieces of Designer Series paper measure 2 1/8 by 4 5/8. And then the gold measures 2 1/4 by, let me see, 2 1/4 by 4 3/4. So you need 4 pieces of the Designer Series paper and 4 pieces of the gold panel. I will be putting the measurements in the comments on my Facebook post, this post right now for the live, and then I will be adding them in the description of the video on when I post this on my YouTube channel. And while you're visiting my YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe, and of course make sure you follow and like my Facebook page. Just makes the algorithms work a little better in my favor, so I appreciate your help there. Okay, so we've got all the layering done. So next I'm going to do a little stamping to get that done. So we'll have everything kind of out of the way. So I also use some old olive to die cut a branch, a holly branch, and I did the same with some gold. I die cut 2 of the bells out, and out of the Designer Series paper, and one of the ferns. And then this is actually from a retired set of dies. It's from the poinsettia set that we had a couple of years ago, but I just thought it fit so well, so I thought I'd throw that in. All right, so on this one, I'm going to have the hole punch point in opposite directions, and I'm going to stamp in Old Olive ink. On one of them, I am going to stamp Wishing You A, and the other one's Merry Christmas. So I'm going to be stamping on the far side of each of these so I can add the bell to cover where that opening is. So Wishing You A, ink that up. It is going to go towards the right here. There we go. And let me just I like to, when I'm using polymer stamps, stamp on my foam pad. It works a little better. And then what I did is I put the Merry and the Christmas. They're two different stamps. I put them right on the same block. And then I am going to stamp this over to the other side as well, to the left side. There we go. So those two are done. And then on this label, in the Cherry Cobbler Red, I am going to be stamping the Season's Greeting stamp. So get that inked up, and then I'm going to be stamping that towards the bottom left. There we go. So that's our stamping for tonight. And now let's decorate those tags. I'm just going to put this ink away so it's out of the way. So I am going to be using some liquid glue to put this on to this tag, just so that, because I have some pretty tiny little spots. So I'm going to get out my silicone mat so I don't make a gluey mess. All right, so I'm going to take one of my gold leaves and I'm going to add a little bit of glue on the back side, just some little dots. Remember, when you're using the liquid glue, it doesn't take a lot to hold it in place. So I'm just going down the spine of this, adding some of that liquid glue, and I am going to have this one kind of hang across the top over the greeting. Let me just hold that in place for a second. There we go. And then straight up. So as I put this one on, I want to make sure I'm only going in the middle with the glue so I don't end up with glue all over the place. We don't want this to stick to the belly band. All right. So this one is going to go right about here, I think. It won't look exactly the same as the first one, but it will still be nice. Okay, no glue on the back. That's good. So now I'm going to do the same thing with my Old Olive bow. Again, just going right in the middle because it's going to stick off the top. And I just want to make sure that I don't cover up the Season's Greeting part of my greeting. Oh, whoops, that's not quite stuck. There's still enough glue, so we'll just put it back down and just hold it for another minute or two. That's the only disadvantage, I think, of the glue, is that you do have to hold it in place a little bit. So, tell me in the comments if you have any plans for World Card Making Day tomorrow. I know I do. I have actually signed up for 3 different events tomorrow. So I love signing up for online events because it just gives me a chance to do some projects that someone else has planned. Someone else has, in some cases, cut for one of my classes. Someone else has cut for that one. And it just lets me enjoy just the stamping aspect of it. So I'm going to a stamp camp in the morning. I might have to leave that a little early because Stamping Up is doing an online event in the afternoon. So I'm going to be attending that. And then I am going to, late in the afternoon, go to a worldwide stamping retreat. And there are demonstrators who are presenting from Australia and the United States. That's where we get the worldwide. So I'm really looking forward to this weekend. And of course, I'm hoping to get a lot of stamping done. So come to my Simply Stamping Sunday, this Sunday at 7, because I will share anything that I had the opportunity to make today, over the weekend. Now, of course, I also have a ton of correcting to do, so I'm going to have to fit that in too. But I'm going to try to keep everything, pretty fun on that. So here's our tag. The only thing left to do, where did I put my ribbon? I brought my ribbon. Oh, it's right here. I have this gold trim that I'm going to tie a bow with, and that's going to go onto our tag. And I want the end of the bow to be pretty big because I want that to go kind of cascading across the front. So it's going to be bigger than I usually leave my bows. But we're going to get this into a nice shape. Play with it just a little. And trim this off with my ribbon shears. So Stamping Up has a couple of great things happening right now. If you're a fan of the kits right now are 30% off, which is such a great deal. I guess they said up to 30% off, so I won't say for sure that every kit is 30% off. I haven't looked at every one. So they make great gifts for you. So if you want to treat yourself to a kit, to have something available when you need to just have everything ready for you, and then you can stamp at your leisure. If you have a lot of cards to make at once, birthday cards, you can buy a birthday kit. And then the other thing that's awesome about them is that they just make such great gifts. So that is pretty nice too. So make sure you check that out. And the other thing is that Stamping Up is going to have a stamp sale. I just got an email on it. It is all of the stamps in the regular catalog, not the mini. And those stamps are going to be 15% off the 7th through the 9th. So that's pretty exciting because Stamping Up doesn't put their stamps on sale a lot. And then finally, at the beginning of November, we are going to have some new online exclusives. So it is pretty exciting what's going on at Stamping Up right now. So here's our tag for the front. I just want that ribbon to lie flat. There we go. It's a little better. My bows are always kind of wonky anyway, so I'm going to set that tag aside, and then we're going to finish these 2 tags. So I have these are going to be super easy to do because we just are going to put the bells on it that I cut from the Designer Series paper. And so the reason I want it to stamp first is I just want to make sure these bells do not cover up any of the greeting. And so this one is going to go a little bit like that. Okay, so those are done. We'll set those aside. Okay, now comes the fun part, and we're going to do all of the constructing. So let me just move some things out of the way. And this is where the magic happens. So the first thing we're going to score, so I'm just getting my score tool out. We don't need to score the belly band, but we need to score all of this. And the first thing I'm going to score is the 5 by 10 piece of cardstock. And this piece of cardstock, this fold is for the gatefold. So we are going to score this at 2.5 and 7.5. This is going to make a square card when we're done, so it's going to be a 5 by 5 card when it's all folded. So I'm going to set that aside. And then on both of the mechanisms, we have 3 score marks we need to do. So we're going to start and score at 3/4 of an inch. Then we're going to score at, let me just keep that straight. Let me make sure I did that right. There we go. So 3/4 of an inch. Then we're going to score at 4 1/8 inch. And then we're going to score at 4 7/8 of an inch. And we're going to do the exact same thing to both of these. So again, I'm going to, and then I'm going to score at 4 1/8 of an inch, and then at 4 7/8. Okay, that's all the scoring we need to do. The magic of this fold is those mechanisms and how it can make the panels slide. All right, so let's do what we normally do. We're going to take those score marks and fold them and give it a nice burnish on the edge. By scoring it where we did, you're going to have those pieces come right together. There's going to be just the tiniest of tiny space between them, but it's not much at all. Just hold it closed so you can see that. It's just very, very little. All right. Now, for these pieces, I am going to fold in on both of them. So all 3 score marks get folded in. And give it a nice burnish with your bone folder. So if I stood this up, the mechanism is going to look like that. Just to give you an idea of what I'm doing. So you've got one folded down 90 degrees and the others folded at 90 and then folded at 90 again. So you just have to remember you're folding in on both of these. All right, so I'm going to set those mechanisms aside and we're going to start decorating this. So the big panel, I'm going to actually wait a second and put everything else in so I make sure I put that the right way. So I'm going to take my piece of my center panel and just add some adhesive to it. And it is going to go right in here, just centered between the top and the bottom and the sides. I am using the kind of snowflake paper. Okay, I know it's here. Oh, there it is. Okay, we've got both of those. I'm using those on the inside of the card. So they are going to go on each panel. This is another one of those cards that you get to really show off the designer series paper, and when you have paper this elegant and beautiful, you certainly want it to be a shining star in your card. So this will be the inside of the card, and then I'm going to turn it over so I keep it the right way, and this is going to go into the middle. And again, just center it. And then these are my panels that are going to go onto the front of the card. So I'm going to put this one on this side. Just make sure I'm putting it centered. And then this one's going to go on the other side. So even before we put the tags that I made on, this is, you know, just such a already beautiful, beautiful card, just with the designer series paper on it. But we're going to make it look so much better. Okay, I am then going to take those 2 tags we made, and on one of them, we're going to put the Wishing You. And so this will be the top tag, and this will be the bottom tag. And those are the tags that slide if you're joining us a little bit late. We're making a sliding gatefold card. I am thinking I'm going to have to offer a fun fold card because I love fun fold so much, and then I just haven't offered any classes. Okay, so we're going to be adhering this with glue. So what I am going to want to do is make something that is going to look like this. We're going to glue it in like this. So what I'm going to be doing is bringing this, after I put the glue on it, right up to the crease. And then we're going to fold this top over to hold it on so it will fold up. And then I'll show you what to do to the other side. So I'm just going to get that silicone mat out again. This is going to go up about 1/4 of an inch from the bottom of the card. So I'm going to put this right here. It's about 1/4 of an inch. I want to make sure it's straight, and I'm just going to close that and hold it down. So when I open it, you can see how it's going to bend up like that. And that's where I want it. So this is what it looks like from behind. Now, I'm only going to be putting glue on this piece here, and I'm going to be folding that down. So you can see it's not going to go all the way across. So I'm going to open that up. I'm just going to put my mat in between, because me and liquid glue, we sometimes don't get along. So I've added my glue there. Remove that, and I'm going to fold just that piece under, and again, make sure it's even. I want that about 1/4 of an inch of the cardstock. So I'm just going to hold that down for a minute. And we're going to do the same thing. So now we have, you can see that it's going to open right up, make that lift. And I want to make sure it's going to close okay. I found that I had to re-burnish it after I glued it down. So now that I've done that, it's going to close nicely. So I'll do that at the top too. So I'm going to start with the same thing. I'm going to want this, when I glue it down, I'm going to want to put the glue right here, and again, I'm going to close that so that it will sit up like that, like we did on the other end. So I'm just going to put my silicone mat again, add that glue, and I'm going to make sure it's about 1/4 of an inch down and even, and I'm going to just close that and press a little bit just to get it glued. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to do the same thing, put the silicone mat in between my card and my glue. And I'm going to fold this over just in half, making sure it's even, and hold, whoops, make sure it's even and hold that down just for a second while it is adhering. I feel when I'm using something that is going to get a lot of use, like these mechanisms are, that it's real important to use the liquid glue. It's just the best to use between paper and paper. Any other time I use the Stampin' Seal. So you can see how it goes up again. I have found every time I've made this, I just need to burnish it so it's going to fold flat. So when I fold it, it's going to fold like that. Isn't that cool? Just love that. Now all we have to do is put in our panels. Now, when you add the glue, you do not want to add it to this scored section right here. So I'm only going to add the glue to this on the top, this left-hand panel. So I'm just going to put some glue there, but this is going to line up, and I want to make sure I'm lining it up so that these will not, I just want to make sure they're going to be in the right place. Okay, perfect. So it is going to cover the entire little lift, but it's not going to have glue on that one section. So this time I'm putting the glue on the right side of the mechanism, and I'm not putting any glue on to the left of the score line. And again, I'm going to line this up so that my panels don't cross over each other. And I'm going to press that down. So now we have the card all put together. Isn't that, I just love this. I just think it is the coolest card. Has that interactive piece that makes it just so much fun. So now we just need to make our belly band and put our tag on it. So I have my piece of 1 1/4 by 11 inch. So I'm just going to bring this over. I don't want to bring it over super tight because I want it to slide off of the card. Sorry, I pulled that out of the view. So I'm just going to put a little bit of adhesive right here. Again, I'm going to put this in between so I don't get any adhesive where I don't want it, but I want to make sure it's going to cover it all up. It's okay if a little of that adhesive is on the front because we're going to cover that. So this belly band moves nicely. So now I'm going to get some dimensionals and we're going to put them right on the belly band. That way they are right where we need them to be. And you can use this to just make sure it's being centered. But oh my goodness, what a fun card. And what a special Christmas card to give to a dear friend or a family member. And then all we're going to have to do is add our bling. Okay, so there, that's going to fit nicely. So I'm just going to take these off. There we go. And now we're going to put this beautiful tag. And the only thing I think I want to do is cut off the bottom. There we go. And put this right over the belly band. I'm centering it right on. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. So now the only thing I have to do is add some of the berries from the cherry cobbler and clear bling. So I'm going to add the 3 berries to the bottom there, and then I'm going to add a berry here and a berry right up here. And that is our Fun Fold Friday card for tonight. tell me in the comments, what do you think? Is this one you're going to try and see if you can make? Again, I'll have all of the dimensions of the cardstock in the comments for you to use. So again, let me just show you what it looks like when we open it up. So I just love it. I hope you do too. So I will be back Sunday night with another edition of another month of Simply Stamping Sunday. And I will be using the Caring Leaves, which is a fall set from the current mini catalog. I think you'll love it. And I've got some great cards planned that I'm going to show you. And I will also share with you everything that I make tomorrow on World Card Making Day. So I hope you have a great weekend. I'll see you Sunday night. And of course, I'll be back next Friday night for another edition of Fun Fold Friday. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.